So inshallah we'll start the class. Bismillah. So we'll do Surah Al-Asr today. And the surah starts with the qasam, the oath, the swearing by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So first we will try to understand what the qasam is and how it is created. So the first thing, first word is wal asr, which is a swearing. So before we do that one, let's understand the background of this thing. And so this is like swearing, and it is qasam or oath. Okay. Now, a qasam or a swearing is done to make someone or something as a witness. So the purpose of swearing is to make someone or something, it applies to both, something or someone, a witness. Okay. And we will see how it goes. The second thing is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or when people swear by Allah. And only. Okay. And when Allah swears, He swears by His creation. And that we will see there in the ayats. Now when you are swearing by Allah, recommended is swear by Allah only. Some ignorant people swear by other things than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They swear by Quran, by the life, by the head of someone, by their mother, by their children. That's all wrong. The qasam should be done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only, because when you are saying something to someone and you want to make someone witness of that statement, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best witness. Someone's Quran or someone's life cannot be a witness of swearing. So when people swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears, on the other hand, which the Quran is full of the swearing by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He uses His creation. And we will see a lot of examples of that. So these two things are very important.
Yeah, culturally when people swear, they wanted to stress that they are correct, they are true, believe me, kind of.
Right.
Why, God does not need this kind of assertion of proof that He is correct. His word is right. Why the need of swearing?
Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs to swear? Basically to emphasize that what is He saying, He Himself is a witness and the other things are witness of that statement. So it's just making someone else witness. So that's the whole concept. Now, how to swear? Or how in Arabic the swearing is done. So what we need first thing to swear is a noun. And it has to be a proper noun. And the second thing you need is al. Al means the. And the third thing we need is a vav with a fatah. And this vav has a name. This is called vav al-qasamiyya. Okay, so this has a name. It's called vav al-qasamiyya. And then one more thing happens in the swearing in Arabic is that the last letter of the noun has a kasra. Okay, So these four conditions have to be satisfied for swearing or making a qasam. And we'll take the example that how these four things have to be there. So let's look first at the word Allahu. Allahu is a proper name. Okay, so we can swear by Allah. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to put a waw in the beginning with a fatah, which is waw qasamiya. Waw has to be in the beginning. Okay, then you take the word proper noun and change this last letter's dhamma to a kasra, which is this condition here. Okay. Al is already there in the word. You can see that. Al is there. Okay. So when you combine and read these together, this alif is not pronounced. And when it is not pronounced, we change the little hamza and fatah on the alif to a small swad, which means don't pronounce. So the word became now wallahi. When you speak the word in this way, you are making a qasam. You are taking an oath. You are swearing. Wallahi. It has to have a kasra at the end. Otherwise, if the kasra is not there and you put a waw there, the meaning will be and Allah. Waw means and. So if you just combine waw with the waw in the beginning, this will mean and Allah, just a statement. Okay? But as soon as you change this dhamma to a kasra, it becomes wallahi. That means now you are swearing by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Wallahi. Now when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears, He can use any object or anything He created. And for example, if you look at the surah, Wattini, okay, Atteen has al in it, and teen is a fig, okay. First letter is waw, and the ayat stands as Wattini. When you stop, you say Watteen, but if you look at it has a kasra in it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by fig. Then the next ayat is Wazzaytuni. If you look in the Quran, you will see that it is Zaytuni. There is a kasra underneath there. Waw in the beginning, al is there. Okay, you don't pronounce because it's Az-Zaytun, but it's actually Al-Zaytun. Okay? Yeah. Now, look at the third ayat. Watur Sinina. Okay? There, Tur Sinin is a proper noun. This condition. Al is not there in there, but proper noun is there because that Tur, that mountain, is a special mountain in the Sinai. So you are swearing by something special, which is a proper noun. Okay? But in the other place in Surah, there is a Surah At-Tur in the Quran. That is where it is Al-Tur, but Al is there. So Watturi. If you look at the fourth ayat of Watteen, Wattini, Wazzaytuni, Wature Sinina, Wahazal Balad. Balad means city. Hada means this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by this city, which is the city of Makkah. So there, Hazal Balad. Okay? Al Balad is a proper city, so that's a proper noun. So for swearing, either the word will start with Al, or it has a proper name. It has to meet the condition that the first letter has to be a waw with a fatah, and the last letter has to be a kasra. When you see some word with this combination in the Quran, a swearing is being done. Okay, so look at here. Wal asri. Waw is there, al is there, last letter has a kasra. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making swear of asr. What is asr? So that's a different thing. But the conditions of a swearing is there. Okay? So what is al-asr? In Arabic, the 24 hours are divided into different names. For example, you don't have, that those days you don't have the clock, so you don't know what time is when. So if you say Al-Fajr, that means you're talking of the morning time, when the light is starting appearing on the sky. Then a little bit more days pass and you call Al-Ishraq, when the sun is rising. Then when a little bit more time passes, you call Zuhr, which means sun is at the top. When a little bit more time passed, the sun is started coming down, declining, you call time of Asr. The Salat times are not the names of these, we just have given them names. But those are the times of the 24 hours. Then when sun goes a little bit more down, it starts disappearing, you call Maghrib. Okay? Then when it becomes dark, you call Isha. So these are the times people use or used before to tell what time is of the day. So Asara and Asrun is when the sun has started going down, declining. It has reached to the highest point and now it is going down. That time of the day is Asrun. And Al is there, the day, the time of the day. And when you put a waw before that, with a fatah, and when you put al, first thing happens, the al changes to the maz into one. So al asru, and then when you make it kasra, it becomes a qasam. It becomes a swearing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing of the time of asr. Not the time of the prayer, but the time when sun has started going down. Okay? Now we'll see one more interesting thing, that why al-asr? Why qasam for asr? Okay? So let's look at the next ayah. So the meaning of this one is by the time of asr. Mostly people just leave this as by the time, okay? But this is a time of the day, wal asr. Then after swearing of the time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Innal insana lafi khusr. The first thing is that the word inna. Inna has meanings like surely, indeed, certainly, and many other words like that. So when the statement starts with inna, that means you want to emphasize, the listener has to make sure that something very important is going to be talked about after that. So inna starts with indeed, surely. Okay? So when inna starts, it does something. So whenever some word comes after that, and in this case, the word starts with these three letters, alif, nun, and sin. And insanun is the noun. Insanun means man. Insan is a man. And the full word is insanun because all the nouns is end up to the mas. So insanun. Now, if I put an al before that, al means the. Okay? And first thing al does is changes to the mas into one. So it becomes al insanu. So the word now becomes al insanu. Al-insanu, because we have a da in there, the meaning, the right meaning is mankind. Mankind includes everybody, including men, women, children, everybody, mankind. Okay? So that is the meaning of al-insanu, the mankind. Okay? Now, whenever inna comes in the statement, which comes before the word, before the statement, inna has some effect on the word after that. And a lot of Arabic words do that. The effect of inna is that it changes the last dhamma into a fatah. So the word becomes al-insana. Always you will see, and we'll see more examples, whenever inna comes, the noun after that changes into a last letter into a fatah. Because of inna. If inna was not there, it will remain insanu. Okay. So now the meaning is, indeed, mankind, indeed, surely, mankind. Okay. Now, let's look at next two words. The lam with a fatah is called lam-e-tawqeed. Tawqeed means to emphasize, which means the statement or the word which is coming after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to emphasize on that one. Whenever the lam comes, with the lam has many functions, but this particular lam, when it comes before and has a fatah on it, it's come lam-e-tawqeed. Now in English you can still say tawqeed means surely. Again, surely or certainly or positively or indeed. Okay? Now then the next word is fi. Fi means in. Okay. And then the next word is, starts with these three letters, ha, sin and ra. It means to be in loss. Khasara means to lose out something, to be in loss. Okay? And the noun from this is khusrun. Khusrun. Okay? And always end up with two dhammas at the end. Khusrun. Khusrun means loss. Okay. So now, when khusrun and fi come together, fi is a harf jar. So when you put a fi before that, fi means in, it changes two dhammas into two kasras, that's the characteristic of a harf jar. So it becomes khusrin. Okay. And lam before that is emphasizing. So word becomes lafi khusrin, and when you stop you pronounce khusr. Whenever you have a tanween at the last letter, like two fathahs, two dhammas or two kasras, if you stop you don't pronounce the sound of noon, you pronounce khusr. Okay? But if you want to continue, you can pronounce khusrin. Okay? Now, if you notice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in one ayat emphasizing twice. One time emphasizing by saying surely by inna, And the second time is emphasizing by saying lam with the fataha. So twice in one statement, the taqeed, the emphasis is being given. Indeed, the mankind is definitely in a state of loss. Indeed, surely, surely the mankind is in loss. Okay? So that is one statement. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying the mankind is in loss. You have a question?
Yeah, harf jar, I forgot what was that.
Harf jar is preposition in English. Okay? What is preposition in English? What it means actually? It defines the position of something in English. For example, if you have a box here, right? And you have a book. Okay? So you will say, book is in the box, right? It's defining the position of the book. You can say book is on the box. On is defining the position, right? You can say book is on the left side of the box. You're defining the position of the book or underneath. So the words which are we are using in, out, above, below, they are called preposition. They define the position of one thing with respect to the other. In Arabic, those words are called harf jar. They define the position just like these words. And whenever they come, they change these nouns to dhammas into two kasras. Yes, so that's how the preposition works. And in English, in Arabic, all these words which translate in and out, above and below and here and there, they are called harf jar. Okay? So in this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going back, emphasizing twice that man is in loss. Why is he saying that? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, man is the best of the creation. Best among all the creation is the mankind. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that he is in loss. Okay? Why? For two things. First of all, let me do a relationship here. Al-Asr is the time when the sun is going down. It's declining. Okay? Climax of the day is getting over towards going down. The mankind, who is best of the creation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying is that is getting into the loss. Just like this, the Asr time is the time of the decline. Man is reaching to a state of decline. Except those people who are defined here. Other than all the mankind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying is going to be in loss. Just like the Al-Asr is the time of decline, the man is going to be declining, except these few people here. Okay? So let's look at those ones. So, in sure loss. After that,
The name of the lamb, the la you gave up there, what was that again under there? That says lamb.
Lam e tawqeed.
Al-Tawqeed.
Tawqeed means emphasizing something. Okay? So that's the reason I put here sure. It's emphasizing that it's a definite loss. Twice in one statement, the definite, certainly, positively, indeed word is being used here. Yaqinan, exactly. Then after that is the word illa. Illa means except. Illa means except. Okay. Except who? Everybody is in loss except some people. So who are those people? Then the word is lazi. Lazi means he. Lazi means he. Its plural is lazina. Lazina. Lazina means plural of he is those or they. plural of lazi is lazina, those. Now you can put the al before that. Okay. This was ladina. Now this becomes some special those people. Okay, al means the. And when there is a noun, it has two dhammas. Al changes two dhammas into one. But on pronoun, this is lazi, he is a pronoun, or lazina is pronoun. Al doesn't do anything. So it remains al lazina. Okay. Those, except those or those people. Okay. So here, al lazina means except those. Okay. So now who are those? So we start with the word with these three letters, alif, mim and noon. Amana. Amana means to be in peace, to have peace. Aman is peace. So these are the root letters of alif, mim and noon. Okay? These are three letters. So we say whenever there are three letters, they belong to the group of the words we call fa'ala. And we make bigger words by adding more letters. And one way is making bigger letter by adding an alif, af'ala. Okay. So these three letters will become now four letters. Alif, alif, mim, noon. We just added one more letter in there. Four letters. The meaning of these four letters is to believe. The meaning is to believe. Okay. Now, in Arabic or in Urdu also, when these two letters, alif and alif, come together, they are written in few different ways. They are written as this or this. Two alifs can be written in Arabic as one hamza and one alif, or can be written with one alif with a little thin side here. The sound of this is a. The sound of these two together is a. So sound of this was amana. The sound of this thing is amana. That's a basic difference in the pronunciation. Amana, aman is peace. Amana means believing. Okay, so this is amana. This is the word we are going to use. Okay, so I can write down this a and mana. Put a fatah on each of them. It became a word like fa'ala, and the meaning when we put fatahs has become he and the past tense. Whenever we have these three letters, fa'ala, which means to do, if you put three fatahs like this is the grammar of third person he and past tense. So the meaning of this is he did. Okay? So the meaning of this is just like putting fathahs on them. So the meaning is that he believed, third person and the past tense. So the meaning is he believed. He believed. One person, he believed. Now, if I put a vav at the end and with a little alif and a circle, this is a plural. How to make the plural? You just add this thing. So this will become amanu. When you write down these together, it becomes amanu. Just like it's written here in the ayah. Amanu. Amanu means they believed. It's a plural. Okay? Amana, he believed, one person. Amanu, they believed, plural. Okay? So, illa ladina, except those, amanu, they believed. To make a proper English, you can write down, you can say, except those who believed. Okay? So we just translating as who believed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that all the people are in loss, in khusr, except those who believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So the amana is it coming from iman?
Yeah, iman is from the same root. Iman is from the same root letters.
Question. Believer could be a Muslim or a
Yes, so in this particular case, in the parentheses, it's believing in Allah and the commands of Allah. Yes, you can believe in a good system, you can believe in, anything, but when it is talked about with the reference to the Quran and the command of Allah, that this belief has to be in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messengers and the definition of Iman that we are taught in the beginning, that these are the things you have to believe. Then you are a believer by the definition of Islam. Okay? Otherwise, you can believe in anything. Okay? You can believe in good dreams or anything. But when Islamic definition of belief is that Amantu billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi, we are made to memorize that dua. All those things you have to believe in, then it will be the definition of Amanu here. Okay? So that is the first condition, that all these people are in loss. The whole humankind is in loss, except those people. First thing what they did, they believed. Already they have believed in the past. Those are the ones which are not in loss. That's the first condition. The second condition is, let's look at that one. Okay. So the next word is, it starts with these three letters, Ain, Mim and Lam. Amala. Amala means to do some deed. So it also means to do. Okay. Now, in this case, if I put, and if I have time, I'll explain that one. In this case, if I put a kasra under mim, the middle letter, the meaning will be same as third person past tense. He did. Okay. And I'll explain that sometimes the middle letter will have fatah, sometimes kasra, sometimes dhamma. The first and the third letter have to have fatah. So, fa'ala or amila, both are third person and past tense. Okay? So it means he did. Same thing, you put a vav at the end and then the alif, become amilu, it become plural. Okay? They did. Except those who believed. Va means and in between. Amilu, you can translate who believed, who did. They who believed and who did. And those who did. So now the action comes after the belief. Okay? And what is that action? What is that they are doing?
So wow and alif, what do you call that?
Make it plural.
On the top?
This one?
No, on alifs on the top.
Oh, this is a small circle. That's called alif-e waqaya. It's not pronounced. The purpose of this little circle is that do not pronounce alif. This is just written there. It's called alif of a separation. Wiqaya means to separate. So you are separating, so you don't combine these two words together. You keep
I
things
thought
up.
it was what?
No, that is a Hamzatul Wasal.
Oh.
Yeah, that has a different purpose. This is just, Hamzatul Wasal was already there. With a Hamza on it, you change with a Swad.
Sorry, yeah.
This alif was not there to begin with.
Okay.
You just added one alif in there with a circle. So its purpose is different and its usage is different. Okay? And in Indo-Pak Quran, they just leave it like that. With a straight alif without any circle on it. Okay? But in our Usmani script, it's more clear that whenever you see a little circle here, that this was added to make the script easy to read. Okay? It has no purpose, no meaning, no sound, no meaning. Okay? So, wa amilu. Okay? Now let's look at the next word. Next word starts with these three letters, Swad, Lam and Ha. Salaha. This means to be good. These are the meaning of these three letters, to be good or to do good. Okay. So now we have also been learning that, like, if these three letters are there, Seen, Jim and Dal, Sajada, to make Sajda. If we add an alif here, we make it the person who is making sajda. Sajid is a person who makes the sajda. The full word is sajidun. So that's how we make the person who is doing that activity. Sajidun is a person who is making sajda. So salaha means to be good. If I do the same thing, it will become swalihun. So this is sajidun, sajidun. Fatah on the first letter, kasra and sound of noon at the last letter. Sajidun. When you stop, you say sajid. So this word is same thing. You put an alif. Salihun means a good man. Good man. Person, a male who is good is salih person. We use that in the language also. Salih is a good person. Okay? Neek person. Yes.
Question about clarification. So when you explained it as sajida, when you added the what's that, the mada, like there in the red, sajida?
Yeah.
You showed it as vertical, but then over there you showed it as a kasra and then a
No.
long.
This means just add alif with the sin. So this
Oh,
alif
okay.
is the sin.
I thought you were doing a
No, just on this scene,
Oh,
I added extra letter and other things are just the harakat to make sound. But actual additional letter I added was alif. Okay? So the same thing is here. I added alif here. So salihun means a good man. Okay? Now if I add a ta at the end, this round ta, it's called ta marbuta. Salihatun. This is to make a female. So Salihatun means good woman. That's how we make female gender. Abidun, abidatun. Sajidun, sajidatun. When you stop, you say sajida. Okay? So when you stop here, you will say salihah. So salih is a good man. Salihah is a good woman. Okay? Now, its plural of salihatun is salihatun. This is a plural. Salihatun. When we make a plural, this round ta becomes a regular ta. That's how we make plural. So the word is Salihatun. Salihatun means good women. Okay. One woman is Salihah and plural is Salihatun. When you stop, it says Salihat. Okay. Abidat, Sajidat. Okay. So that's the plural. Okay. Now, Salihatun has two meanings. The plural only. This word, Salihatun, has two meanings. One meaning is good women. Okay. The other meaning is a good deeds, good actions. Amale Saleh, when you say good deed. So Salihatun also means good deeds. Okay. So in this ayat, that is the word which is being used here. That is the meaning is Amilu, they did good deeds. Here the meaning is will be good deeds, not good women here. Because Amilu is action. They did good deeds. So all those people who believed and those who did good deeds. So the meaning is, and there's two more things I have to explain because something is changing, minor. So the word is Salihatun. Salihatun. The meaning is that good deeds or good actions. That's the meaning we are going to use. Salihatun. Okay? Now, you can put al before that. Al will bring the meaning of the. Okay? Okay? And when you put al, the last two dhammas change into one. So this becomes al salihatu. Also, swad will kill the sound of lam and it will be pronounced twice. So we pronounce as salihatu. You will not pronounce al salihatu because swad is a shamsi letter, it kills the sound of lam. And we know we pronounce this all the time, as salihatu. So this word now becomes as salihatu. So instead of pronouncing lam, I put a shadda on swad. So it becomes as salihatu. Two dhammas change into one because of the al. So the final word is as salihatu by itself. As salihatu means the good deeds, the good actions. These people who believed and they amilu and they also did good deeds. Okay? So the actual word is salihatu. Now in the Quran it is salihati. Okay? And the reason for it is that I have explained that whenever a noun comes after the verb, it changes into a fatah. But in this plural, this word never comes with fatah. This comes with a dhamma or a kasra. So this changes to a kasra. The meaning remains same. As-salihatu means good deeds. Okay. It's a little bit longer, but way of getting there. Good deeds. The good deeds. So except those people who believed and those people who did good actions or good deeds. Other than that, everybody is in loss. Okay? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions two more things after that. وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Here, وَتَوَاسَوْ is common. So let's understand that. Waw, and Swad, and Ya. These are the root letters. Now, a lot of us know the word wasiyat. Wasiyat is someone, a person who is leaving this world, he advises what to do is with wealth. That's called wasiyah or wasiyat. Okay? So these are the root letters. Okay? To tell others what to do. Wasiyah. Okay? But we are not going to use these three because we have to make a bigger word out of this, and that is the word we are going to use. So these are three letters. Fa'ala. Whenever there are three letters, they belong to this. Okay? Now, in Arabic, there is one way of making is that we put a ta in the beginning and an alif. Okay? And fa and lam. I added two letters here. One is ta in the beginning and alif between these three letters. Okay? Tafa'ala. Okay? So this will become tawasiya. Two letters. Okay. In Arabic, we make bigger words, and there are rules for making bigger words. One rule is
Alif will
that,
not come after first letter.
Huh?
Fa. The fa.
Yeah, you're right. This is the fa. Alif comes here. The fa. So swad and alif.
No.
No, wow. This is wow. First, ta, wa, sa. Tafala. Tafala is tawasiya. Tawasiya has a meaning of advising each other. If two people are advising each other, it's a very special meaning. Tawasiya, the word we created by putting a ta and alif. Tawasiya means to advise each other. Okay. The meaning is to advise each other. Okay. We say the word talqeen, karna, nasihat, karna, these kind of words where people are advising each other to do good things. That is the meaning of tawasiya. Wasiya means to just do an inheritance advice. Wasiya. Bequest. But tawasiya means advising each other, suggesting something to each other, enjoining upon each other. That's the meaning of tawasiya. So that word is exactly the same. Wa means and. Tawasaw, you notice that there is a waw and alif at the end. That means plural. They advised each other. Tawasaw means they advised each other. Tawasaw, they advised each other. So this is the third thing. They believed, they did good work, good actions, and third thing they did, they advised each other. That not only that they just went and did their own prayer or good action, but they suggested to other people, do good things. That is advising other people. Okay? So the meaning will be, and they advised. Each other. And the other two words are very simple after that. They advised each other for what? For the truth. Haqq. for the haq. So the words are ha, kaf, and kaf. These are the root letters. Haq, and the noun is haqqun. Haqqun means truth. Haqqun is the word that is the noun, 3 letters, truth. And you put al before that. Okay. Al means the, and al will change two dhammas into one, so this will become al-haqqu. Al-haqqu means the truth. Okay? And then you put B. B means of. Okay? And B is harf jar again. Harf jar always changes last dhamma to a kasra. So they advised each other of the truth. Be truthful. Okay, and truth has a big, very big meaning. Okay, so advised each other of the truth. And then the same words are repeating, وَتَوَاصَوْا, and they advised each other again. Each other. And the second word is bisabri. Okay. Formation is same. In this case, the root letters are swaz, ba, and ra. Okay. And sabrun is the noun, patience. And you put an al before that, just like this one, it will become as-sabru. And you put a B with that, it will become bis-sabri, of the patience. So they advise that they should work towards the haq, and then when the difficulties come in that, they should be patient. Of the patience. So these are the 4 characteristics Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning for those people who will not be in loss, who will not be in khusr. Otherwise, all the mankind, al-insan, is in the state of loss. So inshallah we'll stop here.
Okay. Jazakallah khairan, brother.